Stream time, baby. Who's ready for a little Monday stream? And when I say little, I mean little. We ain't got a lot of time. Your boy's busy today, working for you. Got to talk to our friend Bill Scher, buddy Billy Scher. We're going to talk about the long and winding road of the foreign aid package that will likely pass this week. I'm then going to be on Newsmax, doing a hit on Newsmax. And then what else? Oh, DTNS today. I mean, some would say it's an easy life to be a talking head, but today, boy, is this head a chattering. But here's what I want to talk about, and it's a new poll by Marist. And if it is factored into the Real Clear Politics average, I think it might do something that has not happened since June of last year. Here we go. Beep. Head to head, Marist poll, Biden +3. And this is something that we have not seen. The 5 wide Trump, Biden, Kennedy, West Stein poll. So Biden plus the third partiers, and it increases Biden's lead. You're also looking at Biden's approval rating in the mid 40s. That is the highest that it's been in quite a minute. This is a poll that Biden world will be very, very proud of. And, it doesn't. Not quite yet. It brings Donald Trump's Real Clear Politics average lead to 0.3. 0.3. Both of their approvals have gone from, or vote shares rather, in these polls have gone from the high 40s, mid 40s, to the low 40s. We are getting into a rock fight now, but these polls have been pretty bouncy. Although, demonstrating that things are fairly even. Now, Biden has not quite seen the same fortune in state polling as of yet, but it does follow a trend. The doldrums of the mid 30s approval of the losing to Trump in these polls or polling below Trump by 5, 6, 7, the kind of stuff that was happening in in the winter of last year and coming into this year, the fever seems to have broken. A lot of different possible reasons why. The economy not falling into a recession. The realization that this is going to be a Donald Trump, Joe Biden election, and eventually you really have to come to grips with the binary nature of this. It is a B situation. Hating Biden will not make the Democrats bring you a new candidate. You stuck with them. So the question is, are you going to stay home or are you going to vote for Trump? I don't know which of these I believe the most. I mean, I guess the one that I believe the most is the thing that I say all the time, which is that until I am shown evidence otherwise, this is going to be close. We live in a very polarized world. People really, 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 really don't like the other candidate, and so they are more likely to go vote. The bigger issue here is the same issue that we kind of faced in 2016. How many people that don't normally vote can Donald Trump turn out to vote? That's it. It's kind of the unique reason why his recalcitrance against mail-in voting is very weird. Because you want every frightened senior that believes that Joe Biden is ruining the world. Every frightened senior. Guess what? A lot of them don't like to go out and vote on election day. They like to send it off in the mail. I wonder how big the turnout will be in general, how probable it is that 2024 will have more voters than 2020. I would take the under on that, friend. I would take the under. I tend to believe that 2020 was a supercharged voting situation because people had nothing else to do. I think life is going to continue to roll on in 2024. Trump brings out the chuds from beneath the streets. Electorally, essentially, that is his superpower. That was his superpower in 2016. Was that, oh, these are people for which you don't believe. You don't believe will come out and vote. All those Brooklyn geniuses that were telling the hill dog, arr, arr, arr. You don't need to go to Wisconsin. You don't need to go to Michigan. They'll know that we know that they know that Michigan and Wisconsin is a problem, but not if we don't go. And part of it was they were worried that there would be an overturnout of people of low propensity voters. Low propensity voters. The question is, are there any of them left? Donald Trump has been the Republican candidate in 3 consecutive elections. Who said, meh, 2016 and 2020, and then 2024 is like, now I gotta go. Now I gotta vote. Now it is time for me to vote. Do you think having recreational cannabis on the ballot in Florida will bring the young vote? No, not any more than it did when it was medical legalization. I think that you were in a land of diminishing returns. I think the bigger prop for Florida is going to be the abortion one. And even then, going off the top of the dome here, don't quote me, but I believe the the medical marijuana prop still wasn't able to, I think it's like Rick Scott still got elected in that election for governor. So it still wasn't even able to win statewide in one of the big races. Will Biden stop by the NASCAR race this Sunday at Dover Motor Speedway? I doubt it. NASCAR started Let's Go Brandon, right? Did NASCAR? I know it was some kind of stock car racing. I'm assuming it was NASCAR, but the original Let's Go Brandon clip. That'd be hard. Be hard for the man to roll into that. I got a great email congratulating Ashley and I on the upcoming baby. The honk. Le petit honk. But the emailer, her son is 13 and apparently only knows me as the edibles guy. The edibles guy, because he watched the midterm stream that we did, and that is apparently a bit of a derisive nickname. Because for the kids, these kids, weed is kind of an outdated thing. Not doesn't have quite the cultural cachet that it did back when I was a youngster. There was a certain element of danger and excitement to smoking weed. Now that it's at every gas station, I assume you can't help but have it be kind of boring. And that's before you factor in any kind of conservative or liberal lean to it. Now, I have not emailed her back, but when I do, I'm going to issue her a heartfelt thank you for her excitement to the coming addition to our family. And I will say to her 13-year-old son, in my best Jack Sparrow voice, "So you've heard of me." My issue is that I've seen firsthand how Trump runs the executive. It's a shit show. The main thing that the president does is hire people. Everyone he hires, he has to then fire and talk shit about them. Most of them are competent people that talk about how incompetent Trump is. Now, look, I would agree with every single word that you just wrote. And I will say that, in my opinion, boy, would I like a few people in the Biden administration to be fired and talk shit about. How can when you look at the resume of success of a disastrous pullout of Afghanistan, a land war in Europe, a burgeoning regional war in the Middle East, and that's all without our main adversary even doing anything. We have now busied ourselves. We just flitted off $150 billion worth of foreign aid because of problems that the United States has not really been interested in solving in any kind of diplomatic way. I mean, we cut a little check to Taiwan, just so you can say, hey, buy something nice. That's before we get to the border. Now, look, I don't think that Biden is necessarily any kind of superpower executive, but I was expecting somebody at Secretary of State, Secretary of Defense, or the Homeland Security to be fired or leave, resign. You don't have to fire him. Don't have to talk shit about him. But I was expecting it. Things have not gone great for those under those purviews. Oh yeah, and then there was the train derailments and the fact that planes are falling apart in the middle of the air. Sometimes that would get a Secretary of Transportation fired. Being the president's hard. Being the president's really, really hard. We tend to count the misses and forget the hits. But boy. Yeah, there's some dark stuff about that Afghanistan pullout. There's some dark stuff, and that before it gets to before we just cut this check for tens of billions of dollars, 60 billion for Ukraine. I'm not saying that Ukraine shouldn't be supported. According to Franklin Foer's book, The Last Politician, Vladimir Putin told the United States that he was going to invade Ukraine, flat out. And then apparently what we did with that information was say, we believe that's going to happen. Which, again, I don't really know foreign policy, but it just seems like this State Department is very reactive. They're not proactive. Because if you can be proactive at the time that it matters, then you can save us from paying tens of billions of dollars. If you're proactive before things happen, then you don't have to see things happen. Um, a lot of things are attributed to the president that I have no control over. I'm guilty of viewing past events through the lens of who was the president that year, even though I know it doesn't always matter. Yeah, I mean, look, the buck stops here. That is the old truism that if you want to be the boss, you have to pay the cost. And for the president of the United States, that means that you get to take credit when the American economy is good. That's a pretty good deal when it's good. When it's bad, you kind of get blamed for it. I mean, it is the stated goal of our Defense Department that all right. I'm going to road test this take. All right. This is not a finished take. This is a prototype take. It's a spicy one, though. So please understand. I need everybody in the chat to say, I understand. You're going to sign a chat waiver for this take. I understand this is a prototype take. Please write it in the chat now, and then I will give you my prototype spicy take. Okay, so far only Galmore99 can hear the take. I need, all right, Blue Front, thank you. El Condor Pasta, okay. Cliff Singer, JDS3K, okay. The United States State Department and Department of Defense are treating and have treated Ukraine to Russia in the same way that Iran treats the Palestinian people to Israel. Meaning, the State Department doesn't really give a shit about them. They mostly give a shit about how much it degrades Russia. Same way Iran doesn't really give a shit about the Palestinian people. They give a shit about how much it can degrade Israel. Now, I would defer to Jen Briney and the work that she's done in terms of listening to these hearings, but it's not a secret that part of the reason why we would like for the Ukraine war to go along, and by we, I mean the State Department, want the Ukraine war to go on as long as possible, is because we believe we are doing generational damage. And by we, I mean by funding Ukraine. Russia is not only revealing their military capabilities, but also they're degrading themselves generationally. Similarly, Iran funds Hamas, Hezbollah, these regional proxies, largely that attack Israel, because they want the Israeli position to be diminished. How much are either working? Well, that's up to interpretation. But the relationships between these situations are similar, or at least they appear so. This has been a prototype take, one that I haven't really thought a lot about. So, yeah. That's that wasn't the craziest conspiracy thing I got into today or this week though. I got into another big conspiracy thing. This definitely pushes me into like right wing nut. Like I would be uniting a very big coalition of conspiracy theorists. Okay. So let me start here. TikTok, which now will, by the way, almost assuredly be divested because a new version of the TikTok bill is in the foreign aid bill. That's going to get passed in the Senate. It's over. Like that bill is going to pass. It's going to get signed by the president. TikTok will face divestment by way of this bill. They're going to challenge it. They're probably going to get an injunction, but that's going to happen. Anyway, I'm watching TikTok over the weekend. And I have apparently fallen into, my demographics have apparently fallen into hip hop conspiracy theory. I'll give you an example of when you know you've seen a hip hop conspiracy theory video. It's somebody like either from like Vlad TV or one of these other kind of hip hop interview, long form YouTube interview channels that is talking about why things are happening. This is a popular genre amongst hip hop fans. And dare I say, by and large, black conspiracy. So conspiracies that are popular amongst the black community. And so one big superstar of the moment is a singer by the name of Jaguar Wright. Let me see. Jaguar Wright. What would be... So she's had some big hits with Jay-Z, Big Pimpin', Heart of the City, Can I Get a Hard Knock Life. Like she is somebody that's been in the mix with Jay-Z. So these videos usually use or a common trope of them is they'll use the spooky orchestral score of I Got Five on It from Jordan Peele's movie Us. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. But it's like very creepy. And so Jaguar Wright gives this interview where she is like, Jay-Z is behind Diddy going down. And she's very sure of herself. She is also very sure. She's like, I've been at these Diddy parties. I've seen the gay sex. There's apparently an audio tape purportedly of P. Diddy having sex with rapper Meek Mill. And all that is what it is. Put a pin in that. I have recently become particularly fascinated with an outlet called Midas Touch. Midas Touch is a liberal outlet, and Ben Maselius is the guy that's behind it. And I've recently become fascinated with Ben Maselius because he is at the center of the rumor that Donald Trump has been falling asleep in his court hearings, according to sources. And then he added another note this week. Not only is he falling asleep, friends, he's also farting. And those farts, boy, do they stink. Is this real? I'd give it about a 10% chance. He's an old man, probably farts. Is he falling asleep? I don't know how people would tell. It is a real who farted and where story. But Midas Touch and one of their affiliates were also one of the was an organization that went after Joe Rogan, that put together the like 10-minute clip of him saying the N-word. That I think kind of started the idea of like Joe Rogan as a far right voice. They were really behind that. So I'm fascinated with that. I'm getting fed these conspiracy videos. And then Jaguar Wright keeps talking about how things get done in this high level of black entertainment. Who silences who? And I don't know if it was Jaguar Wright. It might have been one of the other videos, because TikTok, I lingered. And TikTok is just feeding me all of these conspiracy videos. And someone mentions, well, the real power here is Ken Maselius. Ken Maselius is a massive force in the music industry. He is not just a lawyer, he is the lawyer. And specifically when it comes to hip hop. Puff Daddy, Nicki Minaj, The Weeknd, Lady Gaga. There's been a lot of people that were affected by Ken Maselius. And I'm like, Maselius? Sounds familiar. Look it up. Ken Maselius is Ben Maselius' father. Ba-dun, dun, 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 dun. Now, what does that mean? Well, probably nothing. I mean, it means that they're certainly a politically connected family. It explains P. Diddy's Vote or Die campaign. And it also shows you the pathway to activism for some of the biggest people in music. But there being a direct tie from P. Diddy to one of the biggest left-wing pro-Biden agitators. Ben Maselius is somebody that like is retweeted often by Hillary Clinton. Like that direct connection. Interesting. Interesting. I'm just asking questions. So it's the black community's version of the gay mafia from the 80s. Yeah. I mean, in this case, the idea is that it's legitimately a gay, or at least a bisexual, predatory group that P Diddy was a part of. Yeah, he called Diddy the Fed. I mean, y'all know whose side I've been on. Sometimes you got to tune him out. He gets a little angry. Gets a little fucked up. I'm surprised that the trial is moving so fast. They said several weeks to pick jurors, and it was done in 5 days. Well, I think the judge wants to get it done as fast as possible. That's for sure. Oh, the other thing I was obsessed with this week was the rap wars. The Avengers uniting to take down Thanos Drake. Drake put out a diss track to Kendrick Lamar, his second. And that was followed up by Kanye putting out a diss track to both Drake and J. Cole. J. Cole, who tried to conscientiously object to this feud, caught one right in the meowth. What do I think about the Drake diss? The Drake diss. So for those who did not hear it, Drake used. All right, I'm going to do my best to explain it to folks who don't understand, who are not caught up with this. So Kendrick Lamar is a excellent rapper, but thought of as like a best case scenario of a rapper's rapper. You might have heard his song "Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe." Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe. He also had he put together the Black Panther soundtrack, so he was on a lot of those episodes. Or episodes, a lot of those songs. But he's great. Seen him live in concert, amazing performer. Won a Pulitzer. He goes after Drake on a album 3 weeks ago, and Drake came back with a diss track officially released this weekend, then comes out with another one this weekend that uses AI versions of West Coast rap legends Tupac, dead, and Snoop, alive. But the AI versions are like imploring Kendrick to respond to Drake. Because that is Drake's narrative. Drake's narrative is that you're ducking me. I put out a thing a week ago. You haven't responded. Get in the booth. Put out a song. Blah 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 blah. Um, I thought the AI stuff was a little overdone. Like he did like 2 full verses from Tupac and Snoop. Those were not the ones that went viral. I think a little dab would have done you. Um, but I think Drake is acquitting himself particularly well. It's all going to be fun and games until you awaken Pusha T, who nailed Drake so hard the last time that he was in a rap feud, he became a good father. Pusha T revealed the fact that Jay-Z was hiding, or that Drake was hiding a son, and then talked about his producer's multiple sclerosis, like just vile shit. It was shit that was so intense that the higher ups had to calm things down. Because nobody wants this to escalate to the point um, where somebody gets actually hurt. But then credit to Pusha, on Drake's next album, he was talking about how good of a father he is. And his most recent album, the album art is a drawing of his son. So, Pusha T did him a favor. Did him a favor. He made him a good father. Yuck. I love Pusha T. I've been a huge fan of Pusha since the first Clips album, because I was like a huge Neptunes guy. Just anything that the Neptunes did, I was like on it. Anyway, just a little. Just a little white guy talking about rap music. Everybody loves when that happens. Rap beef is more confusing than X-Men continuity. 100%. And here's the other reason why, is because a lot of people keep pretending that they know why shit is happening. So a lot of what is going back and forth now in these beef songs are about shitty contracts. That's the way that rappers in 2024 actually try to get under each other's skin. It's not necessarily like, oh, back in the day, Tupac hit him up. I fucked your wife, blah, 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 blah. That was like the unforgivable. Apparently, the line that made the Jay-Z Nas feud come to a close, that higher ups had to intervene before somebody got hurt, was Jay-Z saying that I left condom wrappers in your baby mom's car in your kid's car seat. So he's like, I fucked your baby mother and I left the condom wrappers in your kid's car seat. Like that, those were the lines that, were over the top. You wanted to really get under somebody's skin. That's what they did. In today's world, it's all about contracts. It's all about whether or not you are getting screwed on your money. So Pusha's initial thing with Drake was, oh, you're still under this old contract. You've been getting screwed by your old manager for years. In the Kendrick Lamar diss to Drake, it's all about I'm a better rapper than you. And then Drake came back and is referring to drop and give me 50. Now, everybody pretends like they know what the hell this means. But based on my cursory searching around, everybody's got different explanations for it, which makes me believe that nobody knows what it means. Because some people are like, okay, well, drop and give me 50 means that Kendrick Lamar, who just left his old record label, had to pay his old record label $50 million to get out of his contract. Okay. That would make sense. It also makes sense why Kendrick Lamar wants a lot of attention on him if he's about to release a new album like on his new record label, so you'd want as much attention on it as possible. But then there was another theory that as part of a big new contract that Drake signed, that Drake is getting into the world of masters purchasing, much like Michael Jackson did when Michael Jackson bought the Beatles masters. And that part of the reason why the entire industry is mad at Drake right now is that Drake might be buying their masters. And so dropping Give Me 50 would mean you're going to be paying me 50% of your old songs forever. Then on Kanye's diss track, Kanye's clowning Drake for selling his masters, which is something that's been happening a lot in hip hop, probably brokered by Kenny Maselius. That there are these big money organizations that are looking at these catalogs as like accruing annuities. And so people can, these artists can get like $1 billion. They can get hundreds of millions of dollars for their masters. And that Drake might have made one of those deals. But everything now, if you want to hurt a rapper's feelings at that level, if you want to hurt a rapper's feelings, tell them they signed a bad contract. It's not about, oh, I fucked your wife, blah, 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 blah. Not about that no more. Old, that's 90 shit. That's 2000 shit. The new way that you offend a rapper is you signed a shitty contract. You're an idiot. But yeah, at least with X-Men continuity, there's like some Wikipedia that explains it. Here, it's just all a bunch of like, oh, well, I want Taylor Swift to buy all the masters and do Taylor's version. So the Drake diss with AI was called Taylor Made Freestyle, and it was clowning Kendrick Lamar for not releasing his diss track this week because he wanted to avoid the Taylor Swift of it all. And so he's clowning Kendrick Lamar for Taylor Swift making his schedule, which is weird because Drake has said and then says again on the song that Taylor Swift has gotten him to move album releases because she is, and I quote, the biggest gangster in the game right now. I was trying to understand push up and owl hunting, and that was a chore. Yeah, and then there was another totally out of this family tree, but Chris Brown did a diss track on Quavo from Migos saying that one of the members of the Migos, Takeoff, got shot and killed a year and a half ago. Chris Brown says, shout out to Takeoff. He's the one who had the most respect, but also when he died, we all wished it was you, which is like, that's one of those that somebody's got to step in and be like, all right, guys, all right, let's, before somebody, we already had one member of this group get shot for dumb shit and killed. Let's calm down. Let's calm down. And then meanwhile, the people that were getting the most spins was Taylor Swift, who wrote a song called Florida, which I have to listen to. Apparently, it's good. I like Florida. I'm okay on Taylor Swift. I think Taylor Swift's a nice lady. Okay, man, we're almost out of time here. I'll do very, very quickly. I watched all of the Dynasty pay-per-view except for the main event. I did not see the main event because I'm old and I want to get good sleep. And so I will watch it probably today, but I thought it was an extraordinary pay-per-view. I thought Bryan Danielson versus Will Ospreay was, I mean, if you want an encapsulation of what modern wrestling is, which is essentially a live performance of the kind of violence you see in comic book movies, uh, the Ospreay Danielson match was just next level, next level. This is my big thing with AEW. I love AEW. It's my favorite promotion. The one thing that they will always have is their match quality is just always going to be better than anybody. If they can put together a half of the version of like the best thing that WWE can do story wise, then they're kind of at their best. Give Toni Storm the mic. Just give her the mic. I don't care. There should not be a show where she does not come out and just say whatever the hell she wants. Because right now, the woman's on a roll. In the post-match press conference, she said that former WWE star Nikki Bella, this is true, she said on her podcast that she was thinking about coming back and wrestling for AEW. Toni Storm said, and then she decided not. Do you know why? Because she saw me and understood that she couldn't hold a pussy-scented candle. A pussy-scented candle. When do we learn the name of your daughter? Probably when she's born. We need to keep a moving target because everybody wants to know the name, but they all really just want to pitch their own name. So it's an open pitch season for names. An open pitch season. But if I give the name that we're thinking of now, then everyone's just going to try to pitch against that name. And I'd rather everybody send in their own names. Before we go, though, so let me just say this. Guys, thank you. Thank you for your generosity on this registry. BabyJuryMore.com. If you want to get the podcast, new episode up this weekend where we talk about the release. Oh shit! I forgot to put the clip at the beginning. Forgot to put the clip. Let me. I actually got to remember to do that. Thank you guys so much. BabyJuryMore.com. We're at less than a week of announcing this publicly. You guys have decimated this registry. Decimated this registry. I think that there's like 2 or 3 things that are like over $100 left. And Ashley put some shit on there that she was initially thinking that we'd have to, like, there's a version of it on Amazon where you can kind of crowd fund some of the more expensive shit. Raptured. There's a bassinet. It's like the Bugatti of bassinets. This thing is AI when it hears the baby begin to stir, feels the baby begin to stir, it slowly rocks it so it goes back to sleep. Within 15 minutes, gone. We got an Amazon delivery on Saturday that was, I shit you not, 13 packages in front of our door. Like an absurd. And these were big boxes in our front door. Sunday, Ashley joked, "Oh, I guess people don't love us. No packages." 6 packages show up within an hour. It's hard to put into words how much I love this community, how much you guys, I have always fallen backwards like an idiot into your guys' arms, and you have never failed to catch me. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. And your generosity here has been nothing short of truly inspiring. And with that, we're going to wrap it up because I got Bill Scher at the top of the hour. Justine Roberta Young, that would have a top sell. That would be a tough sell. Justine Roberta Young. Gabriella Gloria Young. I will say that I have floated in the past the idea of one of the names being Gloria. Decimated means only 10% is gone. No, I mean, to be totally honest, there's still by the item numbers, there's like a fair amount of stuff, but it's all like, you guys went for the big ticket shit immediately. It's like all stuff that's like 30, 40 bucks. I think that there's like 1 or 2 items that are still over $100. So it's like it's again, you guys ripped through it. Yes, Jim, I did get that. Thank you very much. I actually talked to Ashley about it last night, and I forwarded it to the email, which babijurymore.com. You can get the email at everywhere, everything you need about the public-facing elements of our forthcoming child, babijurymore.com. That's where you need to go. And the email is right there. So if you ever want the email for the podcast, I forwarded your email to the podcast, so we'll talk about it on the show at some point. Oh, decimated used to mean 10%, and now it means something else. Oh, wow. I guess I never even thought about that, but it makes sense. Like Deca, right? No, I'm saying it has been destroyed. It has been obliterated. It has been shredded. It has been absolutely ripped to pieces. I do not mean 10% is gone. I mean more than 10% is gone, and especially 10%. 10% when it comes to money. All right, guys, we're out of here. Do you think it's time to start collecting baby kid political hats to go with your personal collection? Everything I have heard from parents is we're going to have to curb our enthusiasm when it comes to sending 2 things: clothes and toys. Those I have heard tend to build up very fast. All right. That's it. Biden, Trump, Young. She is going to be born before the election. So maybe we can just put them in like an Uno reverse, depending on who wins. Okay, that's it. Bye.